It appears the rumors are true. Pope Francis did have a private meeting with Kim Davis, the Kentucky clerk, who denies signing marriage licenses for same-sex couples. Now, according to the Vatican, a spokesman, Reverend Manuel Dorantes, he told the Washington Post about this visit, "I do not deny that a meeting took place, but yet I have no comments to add." Now, this is very interesting. Now, kind of a big kind of news deal, right? Where, I mean, the Pope just recently visited, had a nice tour, talked to Congress. I'm going to get to that later on in the story. And then had this meeting with Kim Davis. Now, everybody's wondering why. What happened? What's going on? Why did he meet with Kim Davis? Well, and then later on, us have a Vatican spokesperson be kind of shady about it. As I said, that's very interesting. Now, I think my view on this is that it's because Kim Davis is a polarizing figure. And that her polarization, she's been in the news a lot and has had a lot of negative publicity, a lot of pushback. Rightly so. The Pope meeting with Kim Davis, well, that might alienate progressives that actually do see him as an ally on certain issues. Now, let's get down to why this spokesman was a little bit shady about this. Is because this is a political move. Make no mistake, the Vatican is a political entity. Hell, it's even its own country. And by the way, it's a Christian city-sized theocracy. So it's going to make political decisions. It's going to make political calculations. That's what they do. It's politics. Now, according to a new release from the Liberty Council, Davis and her husband, Joe, had released this earlier. And the fact that they had met with Pope Francis at the Apostolic Nunciature in Washington last Thursday. Now, what did they talk about? Well, they talked about bravery, reportedly hugged and exchanged promises of prayer. Of that, Kim Davis said, "I was humbled to meet Pope Francis. Of all people, why me?" Yes, why you indeed, of all people. She added, "I never thought I would meet the Pope. Who am I to have this rare opportunity? I'm just a county clerk who loves Jesus and desires with all my heart to serve him while discriminating against gay people." I added the last part. Now, the Pope, she said, was kind, genuinely caring, and very personable. Well, Pope Francis seems like a rather nice guy. Now, Pope Francis apparently thanked Davis for her quote-unquote courage, according to the press release, and told her to stay strong. The news release also said that Francis presented Kim and Joe Davis each with a rosary that he personally blessed. So, there's the release from the lawyer. We don't know if that all actually happened, but that's what her lawyer says, Matt Staver. Now, as far as this being true or not, I think it is, but I don't really think it should matter. And let me get into that. But first, progressives, liberals, everybody who's listening to me, we should not be surprised at this. If this happened, we should not be surprised. Remember, he's head of the Catholic Church. And I don't think that I'm the only person out there who was a little uncomfortable with a religious leader actually coming to address Congress. As an atheist and a progressive that believes in the separation of church and state, it made me slightly uncomfortable to see those two mixing in the halls of what's supposed to be a secular institution. So I kind of have a little bit of a problem with the Pope's visit. And this is coming from somebody who agrees with most of what he actually talked about while he was here. For example, his outspoken criticism of global warming and income inequality. I agree with those. I agree with that. But I still don't quite agree that it was the right forum for him to come speak. Now, his meeting with Kim Davis could feel like a slap in the face to some progressives who see him as an ally on those issues. And that, I think, is why, of course, the Vatican is kind of not talking about this a lot. But remember, these positions that Pope Francis is taking, well, they're not just liberal positions. These are actually more Catholic positions than you would think. Christian positions, actual Christian positions. At least they were until the radical right, or moral majority, merged Christianity with predatory capitalism. I mean, that's what happened during the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. They merged politics and religion and created the so-called moral majority, which, by the way, not very moral. Now, this, of course, made a good chunk of religious people actually abandon the real teachings of Jesus. You know, the whole feed the poor, clothe the naked, that kind of thing. They're like, yeah, fuck that. Capitalism. Profit. Okay. But make no mistake, man. Pope Francis is not a progressive. Is he more progressive than the last pope? Absolutely. But is he an actual progressive, actual liberal? No, he's a Catholic. He's just being an actual Catholic. We're just so surprised because of that whole moral majority. Remember, Christians actually, Catholic Christians, conservative Christians actually used to be nicer people. They actually used to care for the poor. They actually used to care for the environment. Not so much anymore, now that they're allied with predatory capitalism. And that's what Pope Francis is pushing against. He actually wants to make Catholics Catholic again. Now on that, that's why he still holds Catholic positions. He's still against abortion. He's still against same-sex marriage. He's against birth control. By the way, he also met with the Little Sisters of the Poor, right? Now, that group is suing the Obama administration over the Obamacare birth control mandate. The Little Sisters of the Poor, those are nuns, Catholic nuns that are suing the administration. So, look, the thing about Francis is that while he believes in those issues, while he believes that abortion is wrong, that same-sex marriage is wrong, he's also not out there making that his central platform. He does not see those as the most important issues to speak about, even though he does hold them. So we have to remember, the Pope is still a Catholic and not a progressive. Now, but those two, of course, aren't exactly on some issues mutually exclusive. Now, another position he holds that's actually related to Kim Davis, and might be the reason that he went to talk to her, was the right to conscientious objection. Now, this is from the Washington Post. On an overnight flight back to Rome, the Pope said the government employees had the quote-unquote human right to say that they cannot discharge duties that they believe go against their conscience. The response was given to an ABC News reporter who specifically mentioned issuing marriage licenses to gay couples as an example. Now, Francis did not mention Davis by name. Quote, I can't have it in mind all cases that can exist without conscious objection. But yes, I can say the conscientious objection is a right that is part of every human right. It is a right. Now, this is where I'm going to agree, and this is where I'm going to also disagree. Do you have the human right to object to things that make you uncomfortable? Of course. Absolutely, you have the right to object. If same-sex marriages make you uncomfortable, you can object to them all you want. That is your right. However, what you don't have the right to do is to let your personal objection get in the way of someone else's civil and human rights. Now, what I would like to ask the Pope, if I ever got a chance to ask the Pope one question, I would ask him about the human rights of those being denied marriage licenses due to people like Kim Davis and other county clerks that are like her. What about their human rights? What about their rights? Is it okay for them to for her to deny them their rights? I think it's a valid question. And I think this is ultimately why Kim Davis needs to go. She needs to resign. She does have the human right to object to gay marriage. We all do. Anybody who's against it has that right. That's called freedom. However, she does not have the human right to hold a government job that she refuses to do, that she refuses to follow the law and to treat people equally.